Is someone in Europe is saying loud that to Ukrainian army, like, do not attack the Kremlin because of some ideas?
I don't know, but I hope at least there is enough sanity in Kiev to come to this conclusion on their own. So far, I haven't seen that much of it, but well, at least they didn't strike Kremlin. The principal problem in Ukraine is that your government does not have a plan. It has no strategy. It should be working on developing a plan to disunite, to break up this Russian Federation. It has no such idea, because this is what would affect promptly Russia to stop the war in Ukraine. Because if it is facing 10 or 15 different internal troubles at the same time, then it cannot continue fighting in Ukraine. But there are no such ideas. Then your general staff is not even good in studying the combat experiences of own troops at the front lines. Why? Because it's busy with commanding these troops instead. While its actual job would be to collect the reports, study them in more serious fashion, objectively, draw lessons, what is good, what tactics is okay, what weaponry is okay, what is effective, what is not effective, what commanders are effective, and there we come to the problem. This was then exposed the fact that 24 commanders, especially at the top, are absolutely useless, even counterproductive, if not traitors. And then you have a major problem because these commanders do not want this to happen. Therefore, general staff is not doing its job. You see? And then you're turning in circles. Zelensky needs win, not strategy, a war-winning strategy, but he needs a win. The Air Force needs flashy photographs and videos of F-16s and Mirages shooting down UAVs to show it is doing something under apostrophes, and so on and so on. But nobody has an idea how to defeat the Russians.
Do you have an idea?
Well, I said, steer trouble inside Russia, cause them trouble inside, because this is the only way you can defeat Russia, is to sow disunity. There are, for example, Chechens. Chechens are not united. It is not like Kadyrov is now controlling all of the Chechens. He's controlling actually a minority which is well paid by Putin. Why is this not exploited? I don't know. Then you have, or actually I do know, but this is a different topic. Or actually it is a related topic. Where is the problem? The EU and USA do not want Russia to fall apart, Russian Federation to fall apart. They want to keep it together. Why? Because it's simpler. This is a historic matter of fact. It's simpler to negotiate with dictators. If you have a dictatorship in charge of some country, you have just one point of contact you need to approach in order to enter that market. And that's the point with all of this. Imagine democracy under apostrophes breaking out in Russia tomorrow in the morning. But this is an absolute anathema for majority of Western governments, and especially people who are bribing them to administer in their interest. Why? Because if you have democracy, then local people are thinking their own interest, and they have a voice. They can say, hey, hello, it is against our interest for you to let American corporations or European corporations come to, or banks or whatever, come to Russia or to Ukraine and to do business here and establish themselves in dominating position, which they can't do because they're so rich. No. So better, it's much more favorable for Western higher national interest to have a dictator in charge, whether it's in Russia or in China, in all of the Middle East, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Dictators are best for business. It's as simple as that. And therefore, nobody has an interest in Russia falling apart. And therefore, nobody comes to the idea, at most it's the Finnish, who is the prime minister or somebody, has mentioned these ideas a few days ago. Sow disunity within Russia, cause internal unrest, cause them problems, demonstrations against Putin, and so on and so on. You can also monitor all the time. For 3.5 years, Russian army is weakened and is getting weaker and weaker, lacking tanks, lacking artillery, using obsolete pieces, and so on. But who is growing stronger? Rosguardia, Putin's own Pasdaran, so to say, Islamic God of Putin. They are meanwhile operating armored units and so on and so on. So they are getting stronger and stronger. And they're responsible only to Putin. Why? Because Rosguardia is responsible to keep his regime alive. So his actual concern is not so much losing war in Ukraine, but what happens if he does so, if he loses that war, what happens in Russia, and the unity of this federation. And whoever thinks this is easy to keep stuck together, it is not. Russia is anything else than monolithic block where everybody is thinking the same way. Otherwise, Putin wouldn't be taking so much care about assuming control over the media and imposing strict control, and the media saying exactly that what he wants them the people to hear. And even then, he's reaching perhaps 40% of the Russian public, not more.
Mm-hmm. And speaking about the Russian old weapon, I just saw the New York Post said that Russia has restored to using decades-old Nazi weapons in its war in Ukraine, as the Kremlin has been forced to raid museums to help rearm the restock its mid-grinder war machine. It's
rather surprising that New York Times has discovered this fact, because it's known since 2 years.
New York Post.
New York Post, okay. It comes to the same, because this is what is happening for 2 years already.
Yeah, I know, but no, it's a kind of a fresh one. Yes, it's a few days ago.
I said, the Americans are discovering this only now. Why it's happening already 2 years. It's the same like the Americans have sent the Russians have sent their representatives all over the world to collect old Sukhoi Su-25 fighter bombers from different customers to whom they have sold them in the past. Yes. Why? Because the Russian Air Force is short on Su-25s. So the only way to rebuild this Air Force is to collect old Su-25s from abroad, bring them to Russia, have them overhauled, and return to service. So this is how far they're going. And if this is New York Times or New York Post is discovering this only now, fine for them.
I think they are not just. I think that's something like a continuation of something that.
Okay, I hope so.
I think it's a continuation. Okay, and just for the end of the conversation, Tom, you are a well-known war analyst, but so well respected in Ukraine especially. How do you evaluate the front line now? Where is Russia gaining the upper hand, and where is Ukraine leading?
To my big surprise, I'm really surprised, and I would really like to congratulate gentlemen in charge of the Sumy sector, because they are doing great. This was this came as a big surprise. They are doing excellent over there. And another big surprise was this counterattack on the eastern flank of Pokrovsk sector, where they have pocketed Russians north of Dobropilya.
Yes.
And apparently there is a similar counterattack undergoing further southeast, which is also a good sign. This is really beautiful. I mean, after 2 years of watching Ukraine falling back and falling back and falling back all the time, it is so pleasant to say, oh gosh, yes, they have liberated something, even if it's just a smoldering ruin, if nothing else. But they have liberated something. They have liberated not only a few villages, but they have hit the Russians into the flank, have found weak spots in the Russian positions, driven into their back and cut them off. I mean, this is fantastic. Where there is a little bit of concern, still a little bit of concern, is Kupiansk sector. That would be southern part of the Kupiansk sector, where the situation remains tense as the Russians are trying to reach the Oskil River. And let's see what is going on to do there. I mean, the local commanders are excellent. This is the best corps of the Ukrainian army, no matter how chopped apart by Siersky. But still, they are doing a great job. They are reorganizing. They have actually largely reorganized their units and retrained the units of that corps and all the neighboring units as well. So the things are a little bit better. They can do much more with less troops, less ammunition than on other sectors.